Alright.
Hey everybody, this is Zach Westy, and dang it, my camera's broken. It's stuck on me,
Well,
scratching my beard. We are not going to be able to get that fixed. Anyways, today Nintendo and the Pokemon Company did a Pokemon Presents for today, so I figured I'd sit down with my friend Tay. Say hi, Tay.
hello there, guys. Good to talk to you again.
Yeah, it's good to talk to you too. And we're gonna watch the Presents today. So
I'm
you got.
honestly very excited.
Yeah, me too, 100%. We were kind of talking beforehand that it's like, it's been a while since we've heard anything from Nintendo other than like the Switch 2 announcement, but I guess they're all kind of like getting all prepared for that.
But right, but so it'll be good to kind of see like what's been kind of cooking in the background and just kind of see what's there to get excited for this year.
Indeed. Yeah. Okay, so you got any predictions for what we're going to be seeing today?
I'm predicting Z to A game footage.
Right.
They talked about it. It's been too long, and honestly, I could see an announcement for another game as well. Like maybe like a not like a new game in the like sequential like
Yeah, not like a new
how we had
generation.
it just maybe more like another Let's Go type game.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I think something that would be like in the mainline series would be a bit like pushing it.
Right. Especially with Z to A being like the next big focus. I feel like we're gonna get something smaller, maybe a remake
I
or like
I could
something like
see
that.
I could see another like spin-off game. I don't know yet, and I'm almost guaranteeing I'm going to be disappointed. But it would be really cool if there'd be like something mystery dungeon related.
Calm down, Westy. Let's not.
I know, right? Um. So
That'll be
yeah,
exciting to see.
yeah, it'll be an exciting. I did see one thing which I was very upset about, which was I was spoiled on the starters that will be in ZA.
Oh, that got
Yeah, because like I opened up Facebook during my lunch break, and it was like the first thing on there, and I was like, "Oh, son of a," because I wasn't even thinking.
I'll tell you fool. You gotta know, like, hey, whenever there's anything coming up,
Yeah,
you gotta completely shut down.
I
Like
know,
board
I
up the
know.
doors, shut the curtains on the windows, nothing.
Yeah. All right, so should we get started?
I'm ready for this. Let's do it.
Okay, well, let's get going. Yeah. Oh, look at that, guys! They're remaking Pokemon TV. No,
Here to
Pikachu.
put no,
Pokemon Channel. What was it called?
I thought it was Pokemon. That was Pokemon Channel.
Yeah, Pokemon Channel. Pokemon TV, I think, was an app.
Yeah, wasn't that like on the Wii
No, it was on the Switch. It like just got shut down.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ishihara from the Pokemon Company.
And I really hope that's not blowing us out.
Today, February 27, is Pokemon Day. This is the date the Pokemon Red and Pokemon Green games were first released in Japan, marking the beginning of the
classics.
Pokemon
Yeah,
series.
indeed. Even though I've never really played Red and Green,
It's
I've
been
only played Red
29
and Blue.
years since the birth of Pokemon, and we've reached this
Crazy to
milestone
think about.
through the
29
support
years.
of all you trainers around
we are
the world.
old.
Yeah.
Thanks to all of you.
Oh, it's cool. You can
It's
kind of
now
see like all the
possible
games
to enjoy
lined up
Pokemon
behind
each
them.
day in a variety
Right,
of
I
and I was kinda
bet
looking-
you they're waiting for Generation 10 for like the 30th.
We hope to keep bringing you
30th
new
anniversary.
experiences to brighten
Oh,
your day-to-day
for
lives.
sure. And
with
I like how they
Pokemon.
kind of have the call out for everything for Scarlet and Violet. Like,
In today's
there's
broadcast,
the
we'll be sharing
Blueberry
all
Academy.
the latest news
And
about
here's the
Pokemon,
Kitakami
including
Yeah.
our newest titles. Please enjoy the presentation.
titles. That's plural.
Yeah, indeed.
It's the Netflix series
Oh,
Pokémon
yeah, I've heard about
Concierge.
this.
Taking place at the Pokemon Resort on a tropical island,
I
the
haven't
story
watched
follows
it, but
Haru, who is still finding
totally
her
should.
feet as a new concierge, and Psyduck as they grow together
Right.
through their
Yeah,
interactions with the
Definitely a
resort's
very
Pokemon
interesting art
guests.
style.
Its
It
charm
looks-
lies in the
Claymation,
warm
eh?
visuals
Yeah,
that can be
it looks
achieved only through
claymation-esque.
stop-motion animation.
Well,
and
stop
new
motion,
episodes
yeah.
of Pokemon Concierge
Yeah, stop
are in
motion
production.
is,
They are
I'm
slated
almost
for
getting, like,
release in
Kirby
September
vibes there.
2025.
That's
What
an
sort of
inter-
Pokemon
Yeah, yeah,
will
yeah.
Haru
I think I
and
know what you're
Psyduck
talking
welcome
about, which
as
is like
guests next?
Kirby's like
Take a
crafted
first
world.
look at a few of the Pokemon
Yeah, like
they
the
will
epic
meet
art.
in
Oh, that's
motion test
really
footage. Just look at the personality and how they move. But there's more. For a limited time, the first 4 episodes are
You almost
available
wonder
to
why they
watch on
can't
Pokemon's
add that
official
much,
YouTube channel for free.
personality
Please
to the
take this
games.
chance to watch them if you haven't been able to tune in to Pokemon Concierge yet. And we hope you look forward to
See,
the
that's
I
what
actually
they
like-
bring
I
us
actually-
into the other content. Like, hey, here's the
Yeah.
animation style that you actually enjoy.
Yeah, I actually do like the games.
Hello,
but-
everyone. I'm
'cause
Utsunomiya
I thought
from the
Scarlet
Pokemon
Violet was
Company.
great. Don't get me wrong,
Right.
Next.
broken pieces.
We have a number of other
broken
announcements to
messes,
share with
but
you.
all right. Let's see here. What's this other announcement?
In Pokemon Go, Pokemon Go Tour Unova Global
Oh,
will take place
cool.
on March 1st and March 2nd. This event can
I've
be
been
enjoyed
grinding
at
this
no
out on my
cost
phone
from
all
anywhere in the
week long
world
so
where
Nice.
Pokemon
Yeah,
Go is
Unova
available.
is like
During
one of my
the
favorite
event,
regions.
the legendary Pokemon Black Kyurem and White Kyurem
Might have
will
something to do
appear
with
in
Black
raid
and White
battles
being like
and
my favorite
elsewhere.
generation.
Also, trainers will
I
soon
mean,
have
just
a
such a
chance
good
to encounter
story.
Victini
I
and
know,
Shiny
right?
Meloetta. We'll also share promo
If I ever
codes
get
for
the chance
everyone
to, like,
to enjoy. We
get
hope you're looking
to that
forward
point
to the
and
new
stupidly
season 2.
explained, which I doubt.
Oh, we'll get there. Oh, by the way, you saw that
I
Tour
don't know,
Deluxe
man.
pass they had there, right there?
No, I didn't. What is
That's
this?
that's
Wait,
Pokemon
what?
Battle Pass. Primals.
Yeah. I guarantee you this is going to be something with like the card games. Or, right, Masters.
No, that's that phone. Yeah, the phone.
yeah,
game.
Pokemon Masters.
Oh, it's Duke Brendan.
Okay. I've never really played that game.
I've heard good things. Definitely didn't appeal to me.
Yeah. Another game that I haven't necessarily played.
A game I've played way too much. I'm like, oh, let me get a fun game on my tablet. Let's download this and just nonstop.
It's fair. Maybe I should check it out.
It's
Although
a very fun game to just enjoy the cutesiness of it and just kind of waste some time.
Yeah. Although I don't
I
know
get
if I can
served by
waste much
Dragonite.
time right now. I've got so many stupidly explained videos to make. Dark Red. Oh, is this for Pokemon Sleep?
Yeah.
It's an interesting concept, but I just ignore that. Yeah, of course. You know, D-Bread and I used to play this a lot.
I thought I remember you guys mentioning it.
It's
You guys haven't
alright.
gone back in there in a long time?
I mean, I only really played it with D-Bread, so, I haven't really heard from him in a while.
You must have been waiting for this. Champion Suicune.
Yeah, yes, indeed. I've been waiting
Remote
to
Stadium
play
will
as
be returning to ranked
Alchemy.
matches.
Wait,
Enjoy
that
intense
stadium
battles in the
disappeared?
unforgettable
Oh, okay.
Remote Stadium. A new type of battle is also arriving, called First
They
to
just
500. In it, a new feature called
Isn't
Eos
that-
technology allows you to gain special effects when you score a certain number of points.
I could be
Plus,
crazy,
look
but
forward
isn't
to an
that the
updated
point
map
of the
with
game?
updated wild Pokemon. The win condition is simple: be the first to score 500 points.
Yeah, see, now here's a new feature of the game, playing the game.
Yeah, not certain what they're getting at with that one. Oh yeah, this
Oh,
is
here's
the
the
trading
card game.
card game. Yeah.
I've heard absolutely incredible things about this.
I've
People are
heard-
loving it.
Yeah, I've heard good things about it. It's another one of those like, I don't want to get into it because I don't have time to get into it right now.
Right, and it's like, to me, there's just something about just playing the game with people in person with the actual physical cards.
Mm-hmm.
It is definitely a lot cheaper, but
Oh yeah,
there's something I feel like is missing.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I have not played the card game since like base set, like all the way back in the 90s, and so that's about the only thing that I know when it comes to the card game.
Oh, and like the Game Boy Color games when they brought those out.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, I love that. Ooh.
Yeah, I still play that.
Oh, that comes out tomorrow.
Oh, nice. Ranked matches, interesting.
Oh, well, speak of the devil, physical cards. Maybe.
Yeah.
Just one. Show me the blue eyes white dragon. Just one. I'll go out there and I'll burn through all my money.
To buy a Pokemon version of Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Yes.
What is this? EX. Okay, I know that those are like... Okay. I know that EX are like really big in terms of the history of Pokemon, but 360?
Oh yeah, I mean they're like pretty much if you lose your Mega, you're done. I remember like EX and GX were kind of like that too. I thought
Next,
surprised that Megas were
allow
there
me to
already.
share some news about the Pokemon video game series.
Oh, okay.
In the Pokemon Scarlet
I love
and
the
Pokemon
cutesy
Violet
background, just how
games,
serious
we're
he
celebrating
looks.
Pokemon
The
Day with a
contrast.
Welcome Phone case giveaway.
Wow. Okay.
Along with a mass outbreak event and other in-game events to
Red,
come.
green, and blue colored Pokemon. That's funny.
A mighty Meowscarada, Skeledirge, and Quaquaval will appear in a series of
I
Terra
love how this
Raid
game is
battle
still getting
events.
support. Like what 2 years later? Like it's
Yeah,
minimal, but
I
And
wish.
even more Pokemon
I was
are
just
planned to
saying
appear
the other
in the
day that I
future.
wish that this game had like a battle tower.
We hope you continue to
It's
enjoy
so
the Pokemon
sad because like
Scarlet
this game was
and
so
Pokemon
fun to
Violet
play
games.
through, but it's like there's just nothing to do in the post game.
Next,
right.
please have a look at this video.
Which I
that's
understand
nice,
because
but-
it feels like a restart.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, I thought they were training. I'm like, why are you sweating for that?
Want to make sure that you don't get screwed over.
Oh, there's definitely something battle related.
Yeah. I wonder if they're gonna make like a Pokemon Stadium-esque game.
That would be incredible. Honestly, I could see it. It's been that or like a Coliseum type thing.
Yeah. It's either that or this is like a promotion for VGCs. That's on a phone.
She watching it? Yeah, because definitely doesn't seem to be any. Oh, those effects aren't real, man. I want to see the globe light up. Imagine with all the sweating and the hydration drink. Oh, and I thought he went to the Shadow Realm. Oh, she definitely was playing on her phone.
Oh, Mega Evolutions are back. Man, I wonder what's gonna happen in ZA.
Surprisingly, Z moves.
Pokemon Champions. Now in development.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, so like,
For the
like
Switch,
another
not for the
Coliseum.
Switch 2. Yeah, probably
I
like
can
a,
definitely see that.
probably like
a
a
Coliseum
Coliseum
type thing.
Stadium-esque game.
What you've just seen is the world's first glimpse of a new title, Pokemon Champions.
Okay.
This title will be focused on the Pokemon battles you know and love from core Pokemon games.
Okay.
Pokemon Champions will continue the tradition of pitting your skills against those of other trainers from around the world, but this time we're aiming for these core-style battles to be enjoyed by more players than ever before.
So they're gonna put it on
Game Freak,
phone.
the developer of the core games, is carrying out the planning for this project, while development is being handled by the Pokemon Works. And Pokemon Champions will be coming not only to the Nintendo Switch family of systems, but to mobile
Oh, the family
devices
of
too.
systems.
You'll be able to choose how you
family.
want to play based on
Is
where
that
you
what we're
are.
calling it nowadays?
What's more, you can also connect with Pokemon Home. Thanks to this connectivity, you won't be limited to
Oh, I was gonna
using
say, for
Pokemon you
what?
can partner up with in Pokemon Champions. You'll be able to team up with Pokemon who joined you on your adventures in
Well, that's
previous
cool.
Pokemon games.
Oh,
Hope
so
you're
that means that
looking
it's gonna have
forward
all
to battling
1,000.
Pokemon trainers from all corners of the world.
And so,
Stay tuned for
That'd be
future
really
announcements
nice to
regarding
see.
the
Yeah,
launch date
and all
of
the different
Pokemon
regional
Champions.
forms.
dude, that's
Megas.
gonna
We'd
be
like to share some
broken.
information about the languages Pokemon series games will be available in. Mr.
G-Max
Tomás
Pokemon
please
versus
take it
Mega
away.
Pokemon.
Saludos a todos desde la nueva oficina de Pokémon en la hermosa Ciudad de México. Soy Tomás Cortijo, director regional para Latinoamérica de The Pokémon
Man,
Company
it was a
International.
really slow year for
El día de hoy
Nintendo. Am I
estoy muy
right?
feliz de anunciarles que Pokémon Champions estará disponible en español latinoamericano desde el día de su lanzamiento. De igual forma,
Look,
además
it's
de los
cool
9
that like
idiomas que los entrenadores y
everyone gets to
entrenadoras
play it,
pueden
but
elegir,
it's like
Leyendas Pokémon ZA tendrá también
I
la opción
mean,
de
yeah, that is
jugarse
really
en
great.
español
That's going to be
latinoamericano.
Latin American
Esto
Spanish, but I
significa
feel
que de
like
aquí en adelante
this is
habrá
kinda
3 idiomas
time
disponibles
in
para
your
jugar.
video, like
Finalmente,
You
como
know,
ya
definitely
anunciamos
telling
con
me they don't really
anterioridad,
have anything
en las
else
futuras
coming.
expansiones
Yeah.
del famoso juego de cartas coleccionables de Pokémon
well, and
estarán
especially like
también disponibles en
I don't know,
español
like,
de
I just-
Latinoamérica.
I know that
Localizar
this is also
productos
going
como
out
Leyendas
worldwide,
Pokémon
so
ZA al español latinoamericano
I understand it, but
permitirá que millones de nuevos fans se unan a la comunidad global de
it
Pokémon
just seems like a
y se
weird
conecten
thing to
con
like
otros
put in the
jugadores
middle
de
of their
formas
video.
nunca antes vistas.
right.
Como parte de
Like I
The
said, I'm
Pokémon
happy
Company
for the
Group,
people
este
that
es un
can now
claro
play
ejemplo de
Pokemon
nuestra
in
misión
Spanish.
de
Well,
unir al mundo
Latin
a través de
American
Pokémon.
Spanish, by
Saber
what I
que
understand.
los fans disfrutan aún más de jugar Pokémon en su idioma local nos permite explorar nuevas formas para deleitar a los jugadores de diferentes regiones y mercados como Latinoamérica. Este es un
But I
momento
just want Mystery
increíble
Dungeon,
para
damn
ser
it.
fan de Pokémon, sin importar en qué parte
No,
del
you
mundo
get
te
Latin
encuentres,
American
por lo que
Pokemon
no
and
puedo
you're gonna be
esperar
happy.
Latin
para
American
unirme a
Pokemon
todos
instead.
ustedes en sus próximas aventuras.
Portazo.
Nos vemos pronto.
No buts.
Finally, here's the latest
the only thing I
update
know
on
about,
Pokemon Legends ZA.
Spanish Pokemon is that for the longest time the move Slam was known as Portazo, which is a door slam. Anyways, I'll stop because this is Pokemon ZA. I hate to say it, but it still looks choppy as hell.
Yeah, it definitely looks like
Yeah, those are the starters.
very interesting draw to pull two from the same generation.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Yeah, they definitely just like straight up just took the engine and the graphic models from Scarlet Violet.
That's interesting. I mean, don't get me wrong. This actually looks like leagues above Scarlet and Violet. What? Wait, are these dynamic battles? Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, Mega Evolutions are back.
Right. I mean, they're definitely probably the most popular feature introduced.
Yeah, but I wonder if there's going to be new Mega Evolutions then.
Given the starters they have, I can definitely see it. Oh, that guy.
Yeah, and an Eternal Floette.
Pokemon Legends ZA is a new
Definitely
title
like
in the
Zygarde
Pokemon
or anything.
series. The story takes place in Lumiose City, the largest city in the Kalos region.
No way.
Prism Tower stands tall at the center of this city of
Is it?
beautiful
Was it supposed to take
vistas.
place in the future, or was this one that say was being
These
created?
days, Lumiose is
I don't
undergoing
know.
a high-tech urban
looks like
redevelopment
it's
plan to turn it into
the
a city
future?
that people and Pokemon truly share.
Maybe it's like, because like maybe we're just
After
basing
you
the
arrive
idea
in
that it's
Lumiose
like it's
City
got to
to
be
see the
based on
sights, you'll meet three
like a different
Pokemon,
time just because
one
of
of which will
Pokemon
become your
Legends,
first partner.
Arceus.
Chikorita.
But there's
Tepig,
nothing to say that
and
it can't be
Totodile.
set in like modern.
You'll choose
or
one of
quote
these
unquote
Pokemon
modern
to
times.
accompany you on a new journey as you get to know Lumiose City and its inhabitants. Here are some of the colorful characters you'll encounter. When you arrive in Lumiose, you'll meet
So
a
you-
new friend and ally, either Urbane or Tawny.
Okay.
The hotel where you'll be staying is run by AZ. You'll also meet his partner, Floette. Lumiose's redevelopment
because
is
with
being
Floette
managed by
being with
Quasartico
AZ,
Inc. You'll become
this would
acquainted with the
indicate that
company's
this is after
CEO
X
Jet
and Y.
her secretary Vinny. The different people you meet will
definitely
make
makes
your
sense
time in
with,
Lumiose all the richer.
The high-tech urban, like they're redeveloping the city. And with all the technological advances they
To help
currently have
people
in there.
and Pokemon coexist, the city has set up wild zones. These areas, located throughout Lumiose, give wild Pokemon habitats where they can thrive.
Interesting.
To catch one of these wild Pokemon, aim carefully, then throw a Pokeball.
Absolutely not.
If you're having a hard time catching one, have one of your Pokemon use its moves to weaken the target,
that's nice.
making it easier to catch.
Because that was something I didn't.
Did he faint it?
This game offers a style of Pokemon battling not seen in previous titles. Moves can have a longer or shorter reach, or different areas of effect. So choose your timing and positioning carefully to gain the upper hand.
That's really interesting.
Lead your partner Pokemon through battles and dodge incoming attacks. Swap Pokemon if you need to and find the right moment to unleash a move.
Makes it interesting for moves like Protect and
What's
everything.
more,
Unless they're going to be
certain
area
Pokemon
effect
can
moves.
go beyond evolution
Or
by
can you just
undergoing
to go even
Mega
further
Evolution.
beyond.
When a trainer's keystone resonates with the Mega Stone held by their Pokemon,
When do we
the
get
Pokemon
like Mega
will do more
Evolution
than
2?
just change shape.
It's the
It'll
Mega
unlock a
Evolve
new level of
past.
power, turning the tide of battle in its favor.
Past a Mega Evolution. Like, I would love to see that happen, like Mega Evolution
As
C or
Lumiose
something
continues
like
its
that.
transformation into a city
Dear
that belongs to
God.
both people
Which
and
by
Pokemon,
like Generation
who
20,
knows
we
what
know
kinds
that'll
of
be a thing
encounters
where it's
and
like,
experiences
like
will
we got
await you.
Mega Evolution and then we got Mega Evolution Beyond or something like that.
Pokemon Legends ZA.
You can just start
Coming
combining
late
it. Hey, that was a
2025.
Zygarde cell though,
Yeah.
which isn't that like the only indication of Zygarde besides the title was Z?
Yeah. Okay. And the significance
Pokemon
of that
Legends
is
ZA is scheduled to release in late 2025.
I wonder if that means it's going to be compatible with Champions.
more than
We
likely.
hope everybody can wait
Or that's
just a
like their
little
Elite
longer
Four
for their
type thing?
adventures in Lumiose City to begin.
I don't know. It's interesting.
That
'cause-
concludes our announcements for today.
Okay.
Thank you very much for watching.
Okay.
Hmm.
So that was Pokemon Presents. Pikachu staring into our souls through a TV.
Thank you, Pikachu.
Alright. Okay, so let's go through these. Okay, so Pokemon Concierge. What do we think of Pokemon Concierge?
Very much. I enjoy the art style, and it's definitely an interesting take. I mean, I just don't know how it's gonna draw me. You know,
Yeah.
like I'm thinking, oh, that's cool. I mean, that's really awesome. I'm never gonna watch it.
Yeah, that's fair. I might check it out, but I don't know. Try
Right.
to enter the back. Okay, let's see here. Where else do we got stuff? The Unova event going on with Pokemon Go. That's a great blurry picture of Kyurem there.
I was gonna talk to you about the Battle Pass system a little, but you have to pay $15 for it,
Really?
and you have 6 days to be able to finish it.
Ooh.
You pretty much have to the end of March 12th or March 2nd to finish the Battle Pass. There's
Well,
100 levels on it for Pokemon captures.
yeah. Glad
Yeah, I've been playing pretty heavily since it came out like a couple days ago, and I'm still like rank 20.
Gotcha.
And I mean, brief side note there, but I heard that Niantic is gonna be selling Pokemon in their games division.
Really?
Yeah, they're gonna be. Apparently, their future that they see for themselves doesn't involve gaming, and that Pokemon, as their
That's-
like pretty much only successful title after everything else bombed, is like just not worth it financially for them to keep going.
That's surprising.
Which honestly, like looking at it, like that's honestly something I feel like they did to themselves because this thing could print money, but a lot of the choices that they've made
Mm-hmm.
just seem like it's hindering it.
Because I remember like Hogwarts Mysteries being like another AR game that they attempted to do.
Right. And
And yeah,
from playing that, it definitely wasn't something that I felt like was.
well, I think they were. I
What?
think that they were just attempting to like copy Pokemon, and it's like the type of people that play Pokemon and the type of people that like consume Harry Potter as a medium are just they're going to those things for like two completely different reasons.
Yeah, and like the Pokemon capture aspect does not translate to Harry Potter
Mhm.
at all. And what they
100%.
tried to do with it makes it even worse as a concept.
Yeah.
But Oh, this event is really cool. I mean, it's great to see them kind of hitting Unova next. But like I said, the monetization is very heavy during this event.
Mm-hmm.
Like that Meloetta event's another $5 to get some regional Pokemon. $5. Another event,
Jeez.
$5. Battle Pass, $15.
Yeah, I hate when like games like nickel and dime people.
Like this one's like just so, and there's a lot of things that they're teasing. Like at the end of the Battle Pass, at the end of rank 100, because you can get to rank 500, but you get 100 Stardust for every rank past 100.
Mhm.
It's like you get this device, a lucky trinket to make anyone lucky friends to get special Pokemon when you trade.
Right.
Great. You have until March 2nd to complete 100 ranks in your Battle Pass, which takes already forever, unless you do raids and stuff, which they've already bottlenecked previously, which is why they lost so many people. And now that even that trinket, you have 6 days after you have till March 8th to use it, otherwise you lose it.
Right.
So essentially, like if you say you forget or get busy, you just spent like say $16 to never finish it and never even get the item, or if you got it, you have a strong chance of losing the item you spent $15 for,
Yeah.
or 16.
So I know it's like a global thing for Unova, but I'm surprised that they didn't use like more pictures of New York City.
Yeah, which I'm assuming just don't know if they had like their like Pokemon Go tours over in New York City at all.
Right. Okay, let's move on. We've talked quite a lot about Pokemon Go. Let's see here. Pokemon Masters EX. 2 trainers are being added to it.
Yeah, with their linked Pokemon, which is cool to see shiny linked, but it's also like, without being in the game, just kind of seeing how it treats it. It's like that's cool for the people playing it, but definitely not something that's gonna appeal to me.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm still not interested in checking out Pokemon Masters. Pokemon Sleep. I don't know what's going on with Darkrai. I can't even find it. It was there for like half a
Oh,
second.
I thought it comes after Cafe.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Cafe.
No, you're all good.
The Pokemon Cafe remix.
Like I said, very fun, very cutesy game. And like I said, time waster type game, or even like, hey, I'm gonna go to bed, or I'm in the bathroom. Like, let me just play like a couple things. Like it's very good at that,
Okay.
but it's also like one of those games. There's not a lot of substance beyond it, but it's very good for what it is.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, I mean, never look down on like casual games. But
Right. Oh, 100%.
yeah. All right. So Darkrai and oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm blanking on its name. What's the name of this?
Cresselia or whatever.
Yeah, Cresselia coming to Pokemon Dream. If they haven't already been a part of it.
Yeah, which from what I've seen of Pokemon Sleep, like it seems cool, but like yeah, you have to do sleep to be able to get like energy or something to catch Pokemon and draw them in. But it's like it seems interesting concept, definitely very niche, I would
Well,
say.
it seems like something to like help um narcoleptic kids that are Pokemon fans. Like it
Like,
seems like such a bizarre.
the concept.
Yeah. To just
Like more power to the people who play it, but
I mean,
I don't
yeah,
know.
more yeah, if you play it like, and you enjoy it, good for you. But it just seems like I definitely would have never been able to conceive of this idea.
Right. It's definitely like something like I would even be able to be like, hey, hey, you want to play a game? You want to play a fun Pokemon game? Here's this. Like that's definitely not something I'm gonna do. It just doesn't feel like it has that kind of appeal.
Mhm. Okay, let's see here. Pokemon Unite. Sounds like they're adding 3 more characters and bringing back a stadium that I didn't know they got rid of.
Got rid
So,
of.
yeah. Um,
Yeah. It's like, oh, that's nice to see it come back, I guess.
okay. It's nice to know it's back.
Like
Um,
I was worried.
I will be honest with you. I didn't know that there were actually different stadiums inside of Pokemon Unite. And it might be that it's like because like I can't even think of how long it's been since I've played it last. Um, yeah, I mean
No,
it was so long ago that
like Oh, like I said, it's definitely a game. It seems like if you really love it, or that style of game, like this would appeal to you.
Yeah,
But
these MOBA games.
even some being on the outside, like I played a few games, kind of like it just a little bit.
Mhm.
But yeah, it absolutely does like nothing for me.
It was certainly fun to play with D-Bread, but I I really can't like force myself to play it by myself.
Yeah, it's like I don't know.
Yeah, I get it. The the trading card pocket game.
Like I said, my friends who love it, like it definitely seems like it's like Pokemon Cafe.
Mhm.
Maybe a little bit more hardcore than that. Just like, oh, hey, if you love the like Pokemon trading cards or like Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Masters or like that
Mhm.
Duel Links. It very much reminds me of that. Like if you love it, here's an easier, more portable way to keep playing it and get back into it. But yeah, as someone who loved the card game when I was younger, it's just definitely not like, oh, that's cool. That's how it's happening for people. Moving
Yeah,
on, type thing.
yeah. I mean, I get that. I 100% get that.
What are you kind of thinking about?
I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's interesting that like they're bringing back EX and Mega Evolutions. I guess I don't know. Like I said, I played the original like trading card game. I still play it to this day on occasion. Like boot up the trading card game on Switch and play it from time to time. But it's just first of all, if I ever played a trading card game to begin with, it was probably Yu-Gi-Oh. So I never really got into Pokemon as a trading card game.
Right.
So yeah, I don't necessarily have any like feelings, and I have always thought it weird that for like the longest time when it came to like like this is things that no one's gonna remember except for the true nerds. That for the longest time, like Pokemon had like official trading card tournaments, but they did not have official video game tournaments.
Right.
And that always seemed weird to me that it was like, why would you not have like competitive Pokemon games? And I think it's because it just took them a while to figure out that like double battles works so well in terms of competitive play.
Right. Just kind of mastering it. I mean, I would have loved to see like some more of the niche, like triple battles, rotation battles, reverse
Right,
battles.
right. But in terms of like just pure competition, like the double battle is where it's at. Because even like single battles don't necessarily bring about as much strategy as a double battle needs to bring out.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Pokemon Scarlet having like a red, green, blue event.
We talked about it's like it's really cool to see they keep getting support, but I can definitely see this as kind of like the last hurrah type thing.
Yeah, 100%. And like I was saying, it's like I actually really like Scarlet and Violet. I remember kind of joking with Jonesy when the game came out. I was like, this is one of the greatest Pokemon games that I've ever seen of all time. Like, I honestly think, and this was like back in 2023, like in the very early days of 2023, I think.
So so we're making a Soul Link of this game, right? We're doing another doing something.
I mean, we could.
Well, I'm down for it. I've been
Yeah,
really looking for a meaning to get back into it. And like,
yeah, I'd be down
oh,
to do a Soul Lock.
hell yeah, gotta
And
find
in
time.
Scarlet and Violet, it would be kind of interesting. But um, so getting back to the Scarlet and Violet, um, because yeah, I remember I was telling Jonesy like, yeah, it's one of the greatest Pokemon games of all time. I really can't wait to see them moving forward with this idea. The only problem I have with it is that it's a complete and total waste waste of your time. It's absolute garbage, and I can't believe that they bothered releasing it in this state.
Oh, for sure. It's like it definitely needed a lot more time to incubate.
Well, yeah, and like when you look at the what would have been the development cycle for Scarlet and Violet, because like even if you assume that they started working on it like before Sword and Shield came out, which is a big if. The last 2 years of development for Scarlet and Violet were done during the pandemic.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
it's
I
yeah, it definitely seems weird. Like that's after everything they went through. Like this is kind of the quality we ended up with.
Yeah, I mean, because like I said, if you look at the timeline for this game, it's like being nice and saying like even if they were working on this game before like Sword and Shield came out, which gives them from like I think 2018 to like 2023, something like that. And that's being generous because like they were actively developing Sword and Shield until like the end of 2019, if not even into 2020.
Yeah, it's like definitely had plenty of time, and there's no way you can convince me that Game Freak and Nintendo didn't have a big
I,
amount of people working on it.
yeah, I still think that like Game Freak is still struggling with the idea of like not developing on console or handhelds and moving towards consoles. And I know that they're like, one of the largest entertainment companies of all time.
But that yeah, I remember, and like I think it's something you and I have talked about before. Is like them not including all the Pokemon, some of the animations that they have, like
Right, like a lot of it is very cheap, and I've certainly had like my criticisms of the series, but it's like I kind of understand like some of the there is definitely things that Pokemon could do to make their games better, and it's like it's very obvious things that everyone is telling them that they could do, and it's not like it's outside of the scope of what they're attempting to do.
it's just why aren't they doing it?
Yeah, because I mean, to this day, like Sword and Shield are one of the most disappointing games that I've ever played. Not to say that it was like they were necessarily bad games, but it's like they were like very solid B minus games. But it's like this is from a team that should be easily giving us A games, and this is what they're giving us.
And see, I definitely would say like I'm kind of biased on it. Like and maybe it's not for the best, but I would say like when the game came out, I very much took it for what it was and immediately tried to like, oh, trying to find like the best in it. Like I don't know if that like kind of out
Are you talking about Sword and
diluted
Shield,
my
or are you talking about?
Sword and Shield, and I guess Scarlet and Violet to an extent as well.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I really like Scarlet and Violet. I hope that Game Freak continues on more in Scarlet and like if Pokemon games are going to be more like something, I hope they're more like Scarlet and Violet than like Sword and Shield. Um, not in like the buggy way. I hope that they're able to like figure that out. And it seems like they're actually taking some time with these next one. At least I'm hoping that they're taking some times with the next ones.
Right.
So, anyways, maybe we should move on to the next part.
I will say I very much love Sword and Shield,
Yeah,
but they definitely
it's
could be better.
yeah. Sword and Shield's my least favorite games. No, that's not fair.
I would say Sun and,
Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl are my least favorites.
I would say Sun and Moon for me.
I like Sun and Moon. It's Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon that really ruin it for me.
I would say just kind of like going into it and just having basically the first quarter of the game being a tutorial.
Yeah, no,
Really
no
kind
fucking shit, dude. Like it's hard to go back and play Sun and Moon. Don't get me wrong. My first playthrough of Sun and Moon was fantastic. I loved it, but trying to go back to that game is impossible.
right, and then like Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire is very similar to that too.
Oh, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, I couldn't believe it because like I'm a guy where it was like when I was playing through Skyward Sword, one of the main criticisms of Skyward Sword is that game tends to hold your hand. Which when I played through the game, and still to this day when I play through the game, I don't necessarily. I mean, nowadays I kind of recognize that it's kind of holding my hand, but I didn't necessarily recognize it the first time I played through it. But Sun and Moon fucking holds your hand.
And it's like I don't mind like things like saying like Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, Sun and Moon, just being able to have such a wide variety of like, let me get all these legendaries, let me do all this stuff. But let me earn it. Don't just keep handing things to me. When it gets a little bit difficult, like no, let me just hold your hand. Like this guy will heal you at the beginning of every route. We're gonna send a buddy with you. You know,
And
you can't do this. You gotta go here.
Yeah, and it's absolutely unforgivable that like Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire did not have the Battle Frontier.
Right. It's like that's such a missed opportunity. Like that would have made the game so much better in my opinion.
Mm.
And I still remember like in Southopolis,
Mhm.
like after being Grout, I did Omega Ruby, like getting Groudon, and then just flying around and just consistently just getting all those legendaries.
Yeah.
And it's like, first off, why do we even have Latios right now? I shouldn't even be thinking about them yet.
Yeah.
But no, I can just fly around them. It's like, come on.
Yeah, it's like the 5th gem, and you're given like an uber broken Pokemon. So broken that it's not allowed to be used in competitive play.
Yeah, it's like, okay, that's cool. I guess this game isn't going to be difficult for me at all. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's a lot to be said about modern Pokemon, but maybe we should move on to talk about Pokemon Champions.
Oh, for sure. I'll get back to it.
Yeah. Get back to what we're actually here for. So this seems interesting. If this turns out to be a like trying to think of the word.
You know, like a battle tower like type game? Or
No, I was
like Coliseum?
yeah, like a stadium like game. It would be interesting to see if this becomes a stadium like game, but right now it's like we just have so little information about it. It sounds interesting, like as if they're going to be allowing literally every Pokemon to be sorry, I just thought of something like they could potentially moving forward turn champions into like the game that you use for competitive while focusing more on like single player stuff for the main games.
Yeah, I mean, especially with Android, iOS access to it, like they can definitely be like, well, you guys don't have the game. Well, here now it's easier. Make it like a free app type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're paying for it. It's like here's all the different connection apps like Pokemon Home, Scarlet Violet, ZA.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
that would be a very cool aspect.
Yeah. So, because one of the things that I really wanted from, not to go back to talking about the the main games, but Pokemon Let's Go was that when Let's Go came out, I was really hoping that Pokemon was going to do something moving forward where, like, we can all admit that like Pokemon is a game for kids, but yet,
Absolutely not.
well, right.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
But at the same time, like, there's been an audience that has been playing this game since the 90s. That's got to be a pretty not even just the 90s, but like even the 2000s. Like these people are in their 20s at this point that are like still playing this game. And yet, and like as you were saying, especially back when like Let's Go, Eevee, and Pikachu came out, before that point, it was like the games we had before that was Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon and Sun and Moon, which are like so afraid of like letting you literally walk off the path that I am surprised that they don't just hand you a Pokemon team that you're supposed to use throughout the entire game.
Right. It's like even like a move selector type thing. Like, hey, if you're afraid, I mean, here, let us pick the best move for you. I mean, they even have like a feature with that where it's like, ask your Pokemon what you think of the move to use,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and they'll like try and pick the best one for. It's like at that point, why am I? I'm not even playing this game. The game is just I bought the game to watch it play itself.
Yeah, indeed. Um, and so I was hoping that when Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee came out, that it was clear like that was a there were two concerns with that. Number one, that Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee were going to be Generation 8 because we didn't know what they were at the time being.
Right.
I don't know if you remember that fear at all or not, but when it was um like when they sat down and said like no, these are not mainline games, these are like spin-off games. And we're just trying to get like some of the people that play Pokemon Go to like get interested in playing like a mainline game. I remember thinking to myself, man, I hope that Pokemon will finally acknowledge that like adults play this game. And so like we're going to make it so that like Let's Go is for the kids and like the mainline games is going to be for like older kids. And the very next game was Sword and Shield.
Which I will say in those games, like I said, someone a fan of them, like I feel like they definitely like there were harder aspects in those games than say Sun and Moon, Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
But it wasn't until we got Scarlet Violet that we actually started to add more difficulty back into it,
Oh
like
yeah.
with Blueberry Academy.
Well, Blueberry Academy. I accidentally fought the Psychic Gym as like the fifth gym, fourth gym, something like that. The If there's one thing that I wish that they would do in Scarlet and Violet is have gyms that scale with like how many badges you have.
Right. It's like it'd be something so easy for them to
I
do. I just don't
Yeah,
understand why they won't do it.
I have no idea, and it would make that game so replayable.
Yeah, it's like even fan games with so little like
Yeah, that
people or like technical prowess in comparison to these countless game developers, like they can
right.
do it. It's like why can't we?
Is Besides all of the obvious like problems with like the glitches and everything, that is probably my main criticism of Scarlet and Violet. That and like Scarlet and Violet has no real post game.
Yeah, it's like don't open the world up to me to then cuff me to go fight everything in this order. Like even like the Team Star people.
Hmm.
Like, oh here, you don't know where to go here, let's kind of recommend to you. Like this person gonna be a little harder, this person gonna be this. So even that it's like you can go anywhere you want except you can't.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, because like I had such a hard fight against like the psychic gym leader that I was like, damn, what the heck is waiting for me for the rest of this game? And I had accidentally like already beaten like the seventh strongest gym leader and didn't know it.
Yeah, and then you get to the other ones like, oh well, never mind.
Yeah, just absolutely like curb stomp them. And I don't know like how I got it to the point where it was like it felt like as I was playing through that things were scaling with me, and I was like, this is so cool. I can't believe they did that. And it was until that moment that I was like, oh, they didn't do it at all. Of course they didn't. Anyways, we should probably get back to the video. Stop bitching about the mainline games. Let's see here.
For now, we'll see. We'll see if we swing back around.
Pokemon is available in Latin America. Well, it's not that it's available, but it's translated for Latin America.
Like, which I thought like was already a thing. Like, I didn't know that wasn't something that was already
Yeah,
there.
I know, right? It's like it's 2025, and you guys are just figuring out the Spanish language.
Yeah, which makes it feel like okay, this is definitely to pad the runtime. Like, they really didn't have anything else. Like, Pokemon Champions was thrown out there, but it's like we don't really have anything.
20-minute mark. This almost makes me
Right,
wonder if like a game got canceled, and they had no other choice but to like, or so like there's an idea that either the Pokemon games need to like come to the virtual console or something like that, like the older games, and it's like a huge question as to like why this hasn't happened yet. And I have always thought that the main reason they haven't done it yet. So the main reason I always assume that the main reason that they haven't done it yet is because and I could. This is about the only time I'm really cynical with Nintendo, is that they can't make enough money off of doing that.
Which is like, just imagine everyone they'd bring in.
Well,
Again, maybe it doesn't straight up
yeah,
translate to
yeah.
dollars, but
Yeah. That's exactly what I mean, though, is that it's like they could make like so much more money. So I always assume that it's like if they were going to like re-release those games, they would do it by like a re-release or something like that, where you'd have to like pay money, like it would be like separate from the virtual console. Um, or not the virtual console, but the Game Boy Online thing and whatever. And I always assumed that they were going to do that, and that like was kind of waiting for like that eventual controversy
right.
of them being and so far it hasn't happened. But I wonder if like another reason they haven't necessarily done it is because like it'd be really and I thought of this too. I want to be clear that it's like it'd be really weird to have games out there where you can catch Pokemon, but you can't bring them to like a modern console, to like a modern game.
Right. Which
Which
I know that they've done with like they've allowed some of the other games to do it, like older ones like Red, Yellow, Blue.
right. But like when Red, Blue, Yellow, and Gold, Silver, Crystal came to like the virtual console on the Nintendo 3DS, you were able to whatever Pokemon you caught in those old games, like on your console, you were able to trade all the way up to, or like you were able to move them over to Sun and Moon. But you,
Which I feel is such a big thing for people.
yeah, but you wouldn't be able to do that with the Pokemon nowadays, because like some of them are just not in the current, because Pokemon now is kind of more working on a rotation than having like the entire decks available at once, which makes sense from like a design standpoint, even though it sucks as like somebody who loves the games and has lived in my entire life being able to play like with whatever Pokemon I want to. But like
Right.
this was always an inevitability. They were always going to hit this point where like the design scope of the games were just impossible to keep up with. Like you can't have a game with thousands of creatures in it.
Each one with their own animations, their own moves, their typings.
Right, like it becomes exponentially like impossible to keep up with that. And I get that it's like, they also like backed up a whole bunch of like models and things like that, but it's like you also have to keep in mind that it's like when they bring in a Pokemon, like if they decide to bring in Nidoking, well, how does Nidoking like affect having Nidoking be available? How does Nidoking affect being able to get through the game? How does Nidoking affect the competitive play? How does Nidoking affect like, merchandising? And it's like a whole bunch of things that have to be considered when you bring in just one Pokemon. Now imagine doing it for thousands of them.
Yeah, and that's and then you have so many people who are just like they don't seem to grasp it really, and it's just like that constant complaint.
Yeah.
Like, oh, LOL, this is a multi-billion-dollar company, should be able to do it. It's like, yeah, but then you get one Pokemon game like every 6 years.
Well, and it's not even that you would get like one Pokemon game every 6 years, because it's like the main problem would be that it's like the games would just they already feel very samey. They would begin to feel even more samey because it's like, what? Quite frankly, if I have a game where
Right.
it's like I can use Charizard in it, I'm going to use Charizard in it. I think through Scarlet and Violet, I used Magneton as like my electric starter, or my electric type Pokemon throughout a majority of Scarlet and Violet, because I know how Magneton and Magnezone work because I've used it before for a very long time. And it's like, and so, and then on top of that, like I said, it's like I'm not even considering the competitive aspect of Pokemon, where
Right.
like you bring something in and you're not even thinking about it, and it completely breaks competitive. Because like try to imagine fighting Shedinja right now with terastallization. Which, for those of you that don't know, Shedinja has like an ability that it can only be hit with super effective moves. And so Shedinja could potentially, terastallize into a
Into the
Shedinja could
rainbow one.
well, yeah, into a stellar type, and then nobody could hit it because there's no super effective move against a stellar type.
If
Uh,
you weren't set up for like stealth rock spikes, like you're done.
Yeah, like your butt, like you've already lost. And it's like that's like one example, but it's like when you're bringing in thousands of Pokemon.
It's like at some point you're gonna hit, or it's like, all right, the Pokemon you love are not going to be what you remember just because they don't work anymore. It's like, would you rather keep the memory good,
Right.
or I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, and it's really interesting, especially like with this generation. Like I was kind of in the competitive scene back in the 6th generation. That's when I really got interested in Pokemon competitive. And I can still like keep up with like competitive. It's like, oh yeah, it makes sense that this one is like OU overused, basically like the closest tier before they start banning things in like competitive mode.
right,
Um, and I was just because actually Scarlet and Violet is probably the easiest it's ever been to like build a like competitive team, that I was like trying it out the other day. And so
yeah,
I was looking up stuff on like the current meta, and it was crazy to see like staples, like Pokemon that have been like staples for years, like my boy Magnezone, who used to be like OU since his inception. It's like and rarely used, which is like it's like the third rate tier.
right.
It was crazy to see. And then
It's
there
like,
was
look how
like,
they massacred my boy.
yeah, and there was another Pokemon that was in OU that I was like, "What the hell? That Pokemon is an OU?" Let me look that up real quick. Which one was it? Because I was like, "What the?" Yeah, Araquanid, which is a water bug type from Generation 7.
Right. It's like just saying what it did, and then
Yeah,
yeah,
just
then people have everyone added to it.
yeah. All right. Well, once again, we should probably talk about what was revealed today. We just have so much to talk about Pokemon. Yeah.
I mean, I don't see how that wasn't connected to Latin American
Yeah, I
Pokemon.
know,
Like,
right? Okay, Pokemon Legends ZA. Come on, show me the full logo. Damn it. There we go. Pokemon Legends ZA.
honestly, going into it, it definitely looks kind of how I expected it to. I wasn't expecting dynamic battles or those three starters.
Yeah, the
I
three
remember seeing
starters.
speculation for months,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
I mean, it looks good. It looks like it's gonna be fun. I want to
Yeah.
see kind of more on how they plan to keep us in Luminos
I am surprised
for
that,
hours.
yeah, Luminos, being stuck in Luminos is interesting. That because like I thought that it was going to be something like, kind of like what probably a lot of people thought, just based off of Pokemon Legends Arceus, that either we're going back to Kalus's distant past, or we're going, and I'd never really even heard of people talking about like Kalos in the distant future, but it looks more like it's a like maybe Kalos of modern day, which makes sense, I guess. Like they can do that. There's nothing stopping them from doing it, but and I'm not gonna say like modern day. It's almost like Kalos, like 10 years after the games took place, maybe.
Right after all the changes.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and so it is interesting that it's like, wait, it's only in Lumios. Like that, I was getting that feeling too while like watching the trailer, that it's like it's only in this one city in Kalos. That's interesting.
And looking at a lot of like the video and the screen grabs they gave us makes it seem like, all right, we're only seeing like a very similar looking area.
Hmm.
Okay, so every other area can be like just locked out until we hit certain story progression, or what's going to happen here?
Yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting because Yeah, I wonder how this game is going to work. I mean, the dynamic battles look very cool. I'm not too surprised that Mega Evolutions came back, but at the same time, I'm very surprised that Mega Evolutions came back because ever since Generation
Well,
6, when
especially after Game Freak did everything in their power to try and bury it.
I know, right? Like I was just about to say that it was like ever since Generation 6, because like uh, Mega Evolutions were one of the reasons why I got really into competitive Pokemon, because I believe to this day I believe that like adding the Fairy type and adding Mega Evolutions were two of the coolest things that Nintendo did for like the gameplay mechanics of Pokemon,
Right.
because it's like it makes certain older Pokemon like viable again. But it's like at a cost. And I always thought that was really cool. And like some of the for a while there, before everybody understood exactly how this whole situation works, and then so in 2014, like in the competitive scene, one of the greatest Pokemon battles that
Yeah.
you have probably watched happened, which was Sejun Park versus Judy. Which you probably remember as like a battle where Apache Risu tanked a Draco Meteor.
Well, I remember that. I was wondering if that's where which one you were bringing up.
Yeah. And so it's because like, and it was such a strange time in the history of competitive where it's like, wow, truly any Pokemon could become a champion at this point. And then the very next one, like the very next Pokemon world, I think that like there was a variation of like every team that was in the top 8 basically had the exact same team minus like one or two differences amongst the average.
Which definitely feels like if you hit that point, like you definitely do something to shake up your meta because
Right.
the balancing was so off there.
Right, which I think is like what the Pokemon Company was another thing that Pokemon Company was attempting to do by like limiting the number of Pokemon to like a certain region. Because like I'm trying to think of it now. Galar has the original 400, and then it got like 620 something. Can't remember. But by the end, and it's far more interesting to see some of those Pokemon be used.
Right. I mean, you got your staples that are like always there.
Right.
But even then, they did the thing where like, you know,
I have actually
well,
wondered.
you couldn't have Garchomp for a while.
Yeah.
Mainstay.
Yeah. And Scarlet and Violet's been doing that too, where they've really been like shaking up the competitive aspect of Pokemon.
I definitely feel like in those type of things, like, and I kind of hope this game goes away with you see the same ones again. Like, obviously, you're gonna see the Pikachu's.
Mhm.
You're gonna see the Charizard, which
Right.
don't get me wrong, I love Charizard, but it's like it's about time where I feel like it's time to move away.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, Charizard's my favorite Pokemon, and that's because it was literally my first. So it's very difficult not to like have such a nostalgic feeling towards Charizard. And I really like fell back in love with Charizard like with X and Y. Like playing through X and Y and using Charizard again through that game. And then also like back when I was competitive, um I used Mega Charizard Y a lot on my team. Like I built teams around Mega Charizard Y. Um, but yeah, I completely understand people's hatred towards Charizard.
Right? Like he's got how many forms now, and like how many forms does Infernape have?
He's got like 3.
Yeah, he's got 2 Megas. He's got a G-Max form. He's got is Regidrago a Charizard? I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe.
that's fair. Yeah, I completely understand the hatred towards Charizard.
That's like
Look, it's not my fault, okay?
I know it is. No,
Yeah.
but I would love to see like it'll be very controversial. But like, hey, even get away from like, don't give me Pikachu.
Yeah.
Like, force me like the Pokemon that we haven't seen, like Pansear, Pansage. They suck. But
I am kind of surprised that they haven't done anything with Unova recently. Because like,
right,
I don't know if it's because like the backlash against Brilliant Shining and Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl were so bad that they're like ready to just like write off remakes,
right,
which quite frankly is if they're gonna give us Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl for like a remake in the form of like a Generation 5 remake, then I don't want
right.
it. Like, oh my goodness, man, I could probably bitch about Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl for hours, but
It's one of those things where it definitely feels like a lot of the things that they're doing for remakes, like they change every generation.
yeah. Well, and
And it's like,
it's so bizarre because like the remakes used to be like the best games in the series because like Fire Red and Leaf Green were really good remakes. I mean, Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Are you kidding me?
I'm pretty sure they're still considered the greatest games in Pokemon.
Oh, I mean, I consider them the greatest games in Pokemon.
Oh, same.
Yeah, like I mean, how can you compete with anything else? Because it's like it's Gold and Silver's entire gameplay, while it's still updated in like Generation 4's amazing gameplay mechanics. While having like the Pokeathlon fun mini games on the side, it has a battle frontier, and the post game is the entire map of Kanto. Like you cannot like that game was always going to be like top tier when it comes to, and quite frankly, as somebody that loves Generation 5, Pokemon peaked with Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Yeah, there's literally nothing that anyone can do
Right, because
to
like
compete with that.
yeah, I mean, if you would combine like the aspects of like Black and White and Black and 2 and White 2 together, you get close. But
But it's just a whole other region. Seeing the people that you, even when it comes to nostalgia factor, there's just so much it brings to the table.
right, and I mean, and like it's not, and because like a main problem with like Fire Red and Leaf Green is that their remakes in the way that it's like it's basically Red and Blue with just like generation.
Generation
Don't
three
get me
stuff.
wrong, like the post game of like Fire Red and Leaf Green is like where all the changes are at, but it's still the same game from like 1996.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of those like post game changes, like it's pretty quick to run through the Sevi Islands and like,
hmm
cool, now I get a Bell Tower. Let's go.
Yeah, that'll tell. Well, and you got to realize that I think Fire Red and Leaf Green came out before Emerald, so like a Battle Frontier hadn't been established yet.
Right, which given the way the remake works, it's like giving us the Stevie Islands and
Yeah,
the
I
like
mean,
the Team Rocket storyline they had there. It's like I don't even know if Battle Frontier was established at that point, if they would even went that route. If
yeah,
they just continue with the storyline that we had.
yeah. I mean, yeah,
No, no. But I can definitely see like, and I've always been on the topic of like when it comes to remakes, like I want to see remakes go to games that truly need it.
yeah, yeah. I get that.
It's like eventually we're gonna hit a point in these games where they're modern enough, unless we do something to drastically revolutionize them. It's like,
Yeah,
okay, we're just getting like a couple features added in, and maybe updating the graphics a little bit, but it's like there's not enough to change, in my opinion, to
right,
really
right.
warrant it.
Because like yeah, because I think of this from time to time with like the Dragon Quest series and Pokemon to some extent, where because Dragon Quest came out as like Dragon Warrior back in the '80s or whatever, and trying to play those games is brutal. um,
Right.
and but like playing the remakes, it's like they're just so much. They're very streamlined. They kind of like fix some of the edges that weren't necessarily meant to be there.
Right.
Um, And I just think that the remakes just and I think that sometimes where it's like, like those games, because like especially like if Dragon Warrior to Dragon Quest, um, so like one of the first remakes that they occurred was like, it was an NES game that was remade on the SNES. um, there wasn't really too much change in terms of the gameplay. It was just kind of like updated with like better stats and things like that,
Right.
and better graphics, which is all it really needed to almost like make that game timeless again. Because Dragon Warrior is kind of because there's this other like really old computer series. It's called Ultima, which you've
Oh yeah, I
probably
remember. I've
you've
heard of
probably
Ultima.
heard of, but you've never played any Ultima game. And that's because Ultima as a series practically died in 1998 because of shenanigans with EA, basically.
Right.
Um, and there is like no way to enjoy Ultima without having to like find those old games and play the old games. Like there's no remake of Ultima, there's no nothing. And so it's like those games are for the most part lost to time. Like no one's going to be able to play Ultima today. They're not going to be able to play it, and they're not going to be able to enjoy it. Not even like as a novelty, because it's like it is so ancient. Like I have tried to play Ultima, and I have played Dragon Warrior on the NES, and Dragon Warrior 2, Dragon Warrior 3, and Dragon Warrior 4. And it's like without the remakes, it's like I completely understand like why the Dragon Quest series has never really taken off in the West.
Right.
And so to some extent, so that's why I'm saying it's like back in the day, remakes made sense, where they were like pixel for pixel, like we're just updating the game. But like you were saying, I really don't think that that's necessary anymore.
Yeah, it's like a game series, that I love very, very much, the Resident Evil series. They've been getting into remakes quite a bit.
Well, yeah,
I would
they've
say
been.
Resident Evil 2, one of the most popular games they've ever had. They remade it, and that game was like absolutely incredible. Die-hard fans loved it, new fans loved it, I loved it. But then they're like, oh, let's keep it going. We skipped 1, which we've already remade like 75 times.
Right.
But the GameCube one was incredible. But it's like, okay, let's
Mhm.
move on to 3. We made things beautiful. We changed the story a little bit, but we're gonna cut out so much. And to me, it's like, okay, did you guys just cut it just to meet the release window? Because we're
Well,
missing so huge aspects of the story and gameplay are just gone just to get this remake out.
and I tend to think of things recently when it comes to like the video game market, and not to open up that can of worms of like the modern gaming atmosphere. But one of the things that I've been thinking of recently is like with the Final Fantasy VII remake, because like they're splitting that up into like multiple parts, aren't they?
Yeah, because I think part 3 is the last part.
Okay, I wasn't certain how they were gonna do that, but it was like when you think about it, back when Final Fantasy came out, the entire game came out at once.
Right.
And you don't think about it until you're like thinking about it, that it's like that's crazy that like they released this 100-hour, I don't even know how long. And I have not played the Final Fantasy VII remake. I have honestly not even really played through Final Fantasy VII all the way through yet, because holy crap, do I have so many games to have to play through. um
Right, which I
but
get. It's like, and I played the remake, and it's like I really enjoy kind of what they're doing with them, just because it's like they're very much acknowledging, like, okay, this is a remake, but it's not in an extent where it's like, and obviously there'll be spoilers, so it's like, I don't want to dive too deep, but it's like it's very
right.
self-aware on what it is, and
Yeah.
it's doing what it can to subvert it.
Okay.
And that's something I feel like that's kind of helps to justify it. But then going back to Resident Evil a little bit, then you get like, a game like Resident Evil 4, a game where people, and I've I
Oh, I mean,
beat the remake numerous times. I beat 4 more times than I can count. I watched YouTubers do it both, and yes, people like the developers of the original Resident Evil 4 are like, "Oh, we made that game story in like 2 weeks. This is such a huge improvement."
mhm.
I'm in the majority where it's just like, "Yeah, that was great. Is it better than the original? No, it's not. We didn't
Well,
need this game."
the one thing, so I've never really played the Resident Evil series either, but the one thing that I know is that like Resident Evil 4 is like a classic in games. Um, and like I said, I haven't really played it myself. I haven't really even seen people like play through it either. Resident Evil zombie stuff is just not really my cup of tea.
Right.
Putting it simply. But and so like I remember when they were, because I remember they remade 2 and then they remade 3, and I was like, are they going to be stupid enough to try to remake 4? Like,
And they
uh,
were.
yeah, because uh, they remade Ocarina of Time for like the 3DS, and for the most part, it's the exact same game, which is you know great because it's Ocarina of Time. um, but I just know that it was because I know that like the remakes of Resident Evil were like shakeups for to some extent, and I was like, do you really want to attempt to like shake up a classic like that? Anyways, and so I always thought that the remakes were interesting, but I'm always fascinated with like gaming history, obviously. Uh,
Right.
and Tay, you and I were very aspiring game designers working on a game, take agency. Um,
And
and
yeah,
I look at
keep
like
me up with. Go on. Sorry.
no, that's fine. I look at some of these older games, and it's like I think it was either Dragon Quest 3. No, I think it was Final Fantasy. It was either Final Fantasy 1, 2, or 3 that it was like 14 people made that game. And just like the thought of that, where it's like, man, like 14 people made, like, I can't remember exactly which one it was. It was one of the Final Fantasy games, but it was still like old enough to be like, it wasn't um, like it was old enough to be like, whoa, that's crazy. Like all of this entire game was made by like 14 people, and just like how nowadays it's like your team on like a project might have 14 people on it to make like a AAA game. And just how crazy is that when you think, and like you almost begin to wonder how unnecessary some of that is.
Right.
Or like, because it's like, we have like these such massive teams and stuff, but the games, like arguably speaking, are not necessarily getting any better. But that's a whole different can of worms and discussion.
Right. Or basically, remakes, they were great for what they were. Are they as necessary now? Definitely not.
you know, 100%. So any other thoughts?
On ZNA or the Pokemon
Well,
video as
yeah, maybe
Pokemon
Pokemon
Presents?
Presents, Pokemon Presents, Pokemon in general.
I mean, like I said, it's definitely nice to see content from them again,
Mhm.
and seeing like things that we heard about last year is something to get excited for.
I think
But
that they're waiting for the Switch 2 announcement, it's going to be in April, which was very bizarre.
right,
Because like, well, the reason why it's bizarre is because like normally when Nintendo does like directs, they're just like, "Hey, we're doing a direct tomorrow. Be sure to tune in." And it's like, "Whoa, okay." But this time they were like, "Hey, just to let you know, we're gonna have a direct on the Switch too, and it'll be in April." And they announced this like either in January or very early February, and it was like, "What?"
and it's definitely interesting seeing that because it's like people have been hearing the rumors and the speculation for Switch 2 for 2-3 years now.
Yeah, I mean,
And it's like you can imagine at any point they would be like, all right, well here we go. Like let's talk about it. There's been enough speculation, but now it's like such an odd time to just here's like a very
yeah,
sensual looking video of it
yeah.
being shown off. Here's a couple games.
I
All right,
mean,
now we wait a few more months. Like it's
they kind of did something similar for the Switch, but like, even the Switch kind of had like, man, that Switch trailer, dude, that was one of the coolest things back. And as like a diehard Nintendo fan, following the disaster that was the Wii U, that Switch trailer was like everything we needed.
right. I remember getting the Wii U and just kind of seeing like, oh, that's okay, I guess.
Dude, the Wii U killed the Nintendo fan in me, but that's a story for a different day. Anyways, we have somehow gone on for an hour and 20 minutes for a video that was only 20 minutes long. So thank you all for watching.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, and we'll see you around. Be sure to subscribe, like, comment, all that fun junk. And yeah, I think that's it.
We'll see you in the next one.
Yep.